Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're also offering our full obeisances, our Dandavat Pranams to Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvajikacharya, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada for providing us with this wonderful commentary and translation of Bhagavatam, and following the instruction of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who said if we cannot understand Srimati Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam, then our study has been wasted. We're also praying to Srimati Radharani. Yadi seva vanchitasya ma Yasya kripaya vayam labema sarvam prapnuma prayojanam damni Shri Bhagavat Pade Krishna sambandhi sarvam cha yadi na jani mahe tutam astadashasu sahasreshu shlokanam Bhagavat oktishu radharanimna vindamatara Nishphalam Bhagavat Adhyayanam Radhikaya Kripam Vina Vyartasyat Sarva Parishrama. If we are cheated out of serving that personality whose mercy awards us everything we need, including residence in the Lord's holy Dham, and all things connected to Krishna, and if we cannot understand or discover Radharani within the 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, then our study of Srimad Bhagavatam has been pointless. Without the mercy of Srimati Radharani, all our efforts are in vain. And of course, we are also celebrating and honoring today's very auspicious, wonderful, holy day of Sri Gaur Purnima, the appearance day of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world 500 years ago in West Bengal, India. Jai Sri Gaur Purnima Ki Jai. So we're continuing our reading from Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 25, The Descriptions of the Characteristics of King Purañjana. Text 6. Griheshu kuta dharmeshu putra dhara dharartadi na param vindate mudho brahmyan samsara vartmasu. Those who are interested only in so-called dutiful life, namely remaining as a householder entangled by sons and a wife searching after wealth, think that such things are life's ultimate goal. Such people simply wander in different types of bodies throughout this material existence without finding out the ultimate goal of life. Purport. Those who are too much attached to family life, which consists of entanglement with wife, children, wealth, and home, are engaged in kuta dharma, pseudo-duties. Prahlad Maharaj has likened these pseudo-occupational duties to a dark well, andhakupam. Prahlad has purposely spoken of this dark well because if one falls into this well, he'll die. He may cry for help, but no one will hear him or come to his rescue. The words Brahmyam Samsara Vartmasu are significant. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 19.151, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very clearly explains Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva. All living entities are wandering in different types of bodies throughout different planets, and if in the course of their wanderings they come in contact with a devotee, by the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their lives become successful. Even though King Prachinabarhisat was engaged in fruitive activity, the great sage Narada appeared before him. The king was very fortunate to be able to associate with Narada, who enlightened him in spiritual knowledge. It is the duty of all saintly persons to follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni and travel all over the world to every corner and village, to every country and village, just to instruct illusioned persons about the goal of life and to save them from the entanglement of karma bandha, fruit of activity. Text 7. Narada uvacha Bho Prajapate Rajan Pashun Prasya Tvayadvare Samgyapitam Jiva Shangan Nirgrinena Sahasrasa. The great Saint Narada said, O ruler of the citizens, my dear king, please see in the sky those animals which you have sacrificed without compassion and without mercy in the sacrificial arena. Purport. Because animal sacrifice is recommended in the Vedas, there are animal sacrifices in almost all religious rituals. However, one should not be satisfied simply by killing animals according to the directions of the scriptures. One should transcend the ritualistic ceremonies and try to understand the actual truth, the purpose of life. Narada Muni wanted to instruct the king about the real purpose of life and invoke a spirit of renunciation in his heart. Knowledge and the spirit of renunciation, Jnana Vairagya, are the ultimate goal of life. Without knowledge, one cannot become detached from material enjoyment, and without being detached from material enjoyment, one cannot make spiritual advancement. Karmis are generally engaged in sense gratification, and for this end they are prepared to commit so many sinful activities. Animal sacrifice is but one such sinful activity. Consequently, by his mystic power, Narada Muni showed King Prachinabarhisat the dead animals which he had sacrificed. Text 8. Ite tvam sampratikshante samharanto vaishasam tava sampare tam ayakutais Chindanchutita Manyava. All these animals are awaiting your death, so that they can avenge the injuries you have inflicted upon them. After you die, they will angrily pierce your body with iron horns. Purport. Narada Muni wanted to draw King Prachinabarhisat's attention to the excesses of killing animals and sacrifices. It is said in the Shastras that by killing animals in a sacrifice, one immediately promotes them to human birth. Similarly, by killing their enemies on a battlefield, the Kshatriyas who fight for a right cause are elevated to the heavenly planets after death. In Manu Samhita, it is stated that it is necessary for a king to execute a murderer so that the murderer will not suffer for his criminal actions in his next life. On the basis of such understanding, Narada Muni warns the king that the animals killed in sacrifices by the king await him at his death in order to avenge themselves. Narada Muni is not contradicting himself here. Narada Muni wanted to convince the king that overindulgence in animal sacrifice is risky, because as soon as there is a small discrepancy in the execution of such a sacrifice, the slaughtered animal may not be promoted to a human form of life. Consequently, the person performing the sacrifice will be responsible for the death of the animal, just as much as a murderer is responsible for killing another man. When animals are killed in a slaughterhouse, 6 people connected with the killing are responsible for the murder. The person who gives permission for the killing, the person who kills, the person who helps, the person who purchases the meat, the person who cooks the flesh, and the person who eats it. All become entangled in the killing. Narada Muni wanted to draw the king's attention to this fact. Thus animal killing is not encouraged even in a sacrifice. text 9. Atrate katayisyemam itihasam puratanam Purañjanasya charitam nibodha gadato mamam. In this connection, I wish to narrate an old history connected with the character of a king called Purañjana. Please try to hear me with great attention. The great sage this is the purport now. The great sage Narada Muni turned toward another topic, the history of King Purañjana. This is nothing but the history of King Prachinabarhisat, told in a different way. In other words, this is an allegorical presentation. The word Purañjana means one who enjoys in a body. This is clearly explained in the next few chapters. Because a person entangled in material activities wants to hear stories of material activities, Narada Muni turned to the topics of King Purañjana, who is none other than King Prachinabarhisat. Narada Muni did not directly depreciate the value of performing sacrifices in which animals are sacrificed. Lord Buddha, however, directly rejected all animal sacrifice. Srila Jayadev Goswami has stated, Nindasi yagya vidher ahaha shruti jatam. The word shruti jatam indicates that in the Vedas, animal sacrifice is recommended. But Lord Buddha directly denied Vedic authority in order to stop animal sacrifice. Consequently, Lord Buddha is not accepted by the followers of the Vedas. Because he does not accept the authority of the Vedas, Lord Buddha is depicted as an agnostic or atheist. The great sage Narada cannot decry the authority of the Vedas, but he wanted to indicate to King Prachinabarhisat that the path of karma kand is very difficult and risky. Foolish persons accept the difficult path of karma kand for the sake of sense enjoyment, and those who are too much attached to sense enjoyment are called mudhas or rascals. It is very difficult for a mudha to understand the ultimate goal of life. In the propagation of the Krishna consciousness movement, we actually see that many people are not attracted because they are mudhas engaged in fruitive activity. It is said, Upadesho hi murkhanam prakopaya nashantaye. If good instructions are given to a foolish rascal, he simply becomes angry and turns against the instructions instead of taking advantage of them. Because Narada Muni knew this very well, he indirectly instructed the king by giving him the history of his entire life. In order to wear a gold or diamond nose pin or earring, one has to pierce the ear or nose. Such pain endured for the sake of sense gratification is endured on the path of karma kand, the path of fruitive activity. If one wishes to enjoy something in the future, he has to endure trouble in the present. If one wants to become a millionaire in the future and enjoy his riches, he has to work very hard at present moment in order to accumulate money. This is karma kand, karma kandiya. Those who are too much attached to such a path undergo the risk anyway. Narada Muni wanted to show King Prachinabarhisat how one undergoes great troubles and miseries in order to engage in fruitive activity. A person who is very much attached to material activity is called Vishayi. A Vishayi is an enjoyer of Vishaya, which means eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Narada Muni is indirectly indicating, through the story of King Purañjana, that eating, sleeping, mating, and defending are troublesome and risky. The words Itihasam, history, and Puratanam, old, indicate that although a living entity lives within the material body, the history of the living entity within the material body is very old. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Anhadi Karama Fale Padi Barhar Nava Jale Tari Bare Na Deki Upaya. Due to my past fruit of activities, I have fallen into the water of material existence, and I cannot find any way to get out of it. Every living entity is suffering in this material existence from past activities. Therefore, everyone has a very old history. Foolish material scientists have manufactured their own theories of evolution, which are simply concerned with the material body. But actually, this is not real evolution. The real evolution is the history of the living entity who is Purañjana, living within the body. Sri Narada Muni will explain this evolutionary theory in a different way for the understanding of sane persons. And thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 10 on Monday. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Shri Gaur Purnima Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Nrsimhapali Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Navadvip Dham Parikram Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Shyam Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Scientific Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Nitai Go Manandi Hari 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 Bol. Jai Shrimati Umadevi Dasi Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
श्रीपाद कृष्ण केशव प्रभु जी की जय। धन्यवाद।
Dhanavad Stiti.